Good day and welcome back to the channel, folks. Today we are looking at a new car for update 1.36. This is the Maserati, the MC20. Now I must be forgiven. I thought this was a totally different car to what came up when it was first told about this. I didn't see the picture. I didn't fully grasp it. I thought this was the old car from like 2003, 2004. But this is the modern one and quite a handful. So what we're dealing with is looking at ways we can use these cars to conquer the missions. So there's a couple of ones that this is actually viable for. There are many ways you can use these cars, but I thought this might be worthwhile, an interesting way to look at them and see which missions you can conquer in the human comedy. So if we quickly take a look at the setup, you can see it's on sports hards. Now, the limit for the human comedy, the race we're actually going to try it in, is at I have to edit this out because I can't remember, my brain's gone. Kyoto. So we could use this potentially at Deep Forest, but we're going to use it in Kyoto purely because it's a fun little race that we don't have to compete for anything for, and I'll show you why that is in a moment. But you get this car at something like 620 pp. So to try and tune it down for Deep Forest, you really have to back stuff off, but that's great because that'll give you more fuel usage. But the key with Deep Forest is that you need to stop as minimal times as possible. So you're looking for one stop, preferably just a splash of fuel or no fuel. So Kyoto Park is something completely different. This is tuned to 550 pp, and as you can see, we're at 54998. We've gone for the sports hard tyres, normal suspension, fully customizable diff. We've not changed anything. Downforces for the tuning effect, so we've got 103 on the front and 400 on the back. Now there isn't much you can put on this car. I've put the front splitter on, I put the side skirts, whatever is on the back, and I put the big high wing at 20M plates. You know that's my signature. Fully customizable ECU, output adjustment is at 70, so we've taken it all the way down. We've got zero weight on, but I was playing with the weight, so I had it at that position. You don't need to do that. Power restrictor at 97, transmission manual set to 340. I don't think it'll top out in the top gear at that 340, but hey, that's the way it goes. Brake controller, everything else is normal, nothing added. Nothing added at all, but we've got that increased body rigidity on. So if you look at that at certain points and it doesn't add anything to the car, put it on. If it's a minus, put it on. It'll stiffen the car up and make it greater for corners. So there's the setup. Take a screenshot as you need be, and then get the car set up accordingly. It's 442 brake horsepower, which is considerably down on what it started with. So let's get off to the track. So as we can see there, bang smack in the middle of the screen, our best is 24 laps. And as you can see on the right hand side, I'll go to the ranking board to make it easier. You can see we're third, behind Mr. Maguire and Mr. Sphinx. We've all used the cappuccino. Mr. McKee, BBRE, and BB is there. JB's there, all first, but some of them not quite hitting the 24 laps. Sam's in there, Skyzer's in there, Arthur M. Odd Old Cheese, Iceman's there. Well done, Mr. Iceman, using the cappuccino. But the biggest thing we have here, folks, we've got nothing to prove because we are number one in the world. Top 10 stars. Correction. Don't know if it's the world, might be region, but I'm still going to hang my hat on the fact that I'm number one. And there's a lot of people to thank for that, but we are above Sphinx there. And there you have it. Nothing to prove, folks. And that's why we're not going for the record, because we have the record. So with this car, let's just dive straight in and see where we go. We'll talk about strategy on the way, because I've got no idea. The idea is going to prove that it's going to win the race, and if you've never won the human comedy before, we're going to try and make this the car you want to use, unless you're going for the record, and then it's the cappuccino. But there is a slight hint that we might be back here with a different car, maybe the Beat 91, and see if we can actually win with the 91 and increase on the record. Let's find out. So here we are, the MC20, straight down to the gears. Now I think, have a look at the fuel map now, it's saying 10 laps, so we're going to have to stop twice. I'm going to fuel map 6, and we're going to see if we can stop once. We're only trying to win the race, and we're trying to encourage you guys to enjoy this race. We're up to 11th place. I'll only give you a rundown of who's where when we get to the top 6. Mr. Carrazza, that's a lovely car. I want to try that one. Just gave him a little nudge. ABS flashing on and off as we tap the brakes. Into 10th. 18.1 laps possible with the fuel we've got. Want to work our way through the field nice and steady and enjoy the hour, because I've got lots of things to talk to you about today, folks. I went to see the movie yesterday, and was I not blown away? I don't think I could say blown away. I was more surprised at the fact it was a really watchable movie, and it really did feature the game very well. It's provoked a lot of discussion between myself and the wife about the game. Some things she didn't understand about it. She never realised, say for example, the fact that I was actually one of the people competing for that GT Academy back in the day, and I don't mean one of the people that won it. I mean, I was one of the people. She never realised the importance of some of the racing I was doing back then, back on the PlayStation 3, and she never realised that that was what the result of it all was. And it's like, yeah. And that's the thing the movie did for me. The movie gave me a great reminder of the feelings I had back then. Even though I was using a controller. And I really did like and enjoy the way the movie was a sort of a blend of that time back when I was competing with a controller to a sort of a true reflection of where we were today. So he was using Fanatec equipment, and we're into 6th place. So we can give you a rundown as we come round to complete the end of lap 1. Mr. Solis is leading, Mr. Fraga second. Mr. Solis is the one to beat today. Mr. Valverde in 3rd place, Mr. Hizal 4th, Mr. Mendoza in 5th, we're in 6th, Mr. Tap AI, and then Mr. Gallo in 8th. He's already behind us. Mr. Gallo is racing the NSX. So we got another 18 laps out of this bad boy, so we're only going to need to pit the once. Kind of hoping to only pit once for tyres. See if we can get up the inside of Mr. Mendoza coming through here. Very stable car this. Just wish I took a break from talking about the film. I was talking about how the game made me feel, and it did bring back those memories of running that Nissan round that track, and it's the first time I remember doing a time trial. I've done time trials in other games, a couple of other Codemasters ones or whatever they were. F1 2000, I remember doing time trials in there for a bit of an online competition, but the one that sticks in my mind as the most memorable was Gran Turismo, the Academy. So 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th all together in the bunch. We're just going to make our way past that engine swap Beetle, he says as it pulls away. Mr. Solis holds the lap record, but we're now a second up on that at that point in the lap as we go to take 3rd place from Mr. Fraga. He again tries to close the door on us, but we'll come tight on the inside. Mr. Valverde's just there. And just to give you an understanding of what it takes to get world number 1 here, we overtook Mr. Solis in that cappuccino a lap ago at this point. This would be lap 1, and we'd be overtaking him going up this hill. And that's how much quicker the cappuccino is here. It's an absolute handful. What I didn't give you before we start off the race, folks, with setup and settings. So assists, we've got ABS default, traction control 1, and we've actually got counter steer on strong. We're looking for an enjoyable race, one that we can win. We haven't got the ASM on, active stability management, but we've definitely got a counter steer on. when you're driving for an hour and you're trying to concentrate and talk and keep the vocab going, it can be a challenge. So that counter steer is a bit of a help and a bit of a benefit. So first lap was a 2:56, Solis did a 2:47. We're going to come through and take that fastest lap at a 2:45.640. The Cappuccino will be lapping in the 2:35s. I'm currently working on another setup for another car to challenge the Cappuccino. The Cappuccino being a K car, it is rather small, rather powerful, not a lot of weight, and we engine swap that. One of the earliest engine swaps that I can't get below 400, so that we could use it in the K Cup. This other car does have an engine swap also. But it's way below the PP rating for this track. Car feels floaty as it goes over that crest, as we now approach the rear of Mr. Solis. We've still got potential 17 laps to go. Don't know how well we're going to do for tyres, but it might be pretty good. The car really handles the curves really quite well. Three-quarters of a second up, just as we lift the throttle off to try and catch that slide that was beginning to happen. Here's the trickiest part of the circuit, this braking point. Just brake as we hit the yellow and black markers. Get the car in second gear to come in. Missed that first apex because we're going to hit the second one. Just a continuous corner rather than a double apex. And that's us in the lead. So we lead out Mr. Solis in second, Mr. Fraga third, Valverde in fourth, His Alan the Beetle in fifth, Mr. Tapei, Mr. Mendoza in seventh, then Mr. Neto, naughty boy Neto, we ain't seen him in a while. And we're almost a second ahead of our previous lap time. Let's see if we can steal a couple of tenths through, coming through the chicane. A bit quicker this time. We are significantly slower than the Cappuccino, but that's not an issue. I've got a little fly buzzing around that I need to resolve, but we'll keep going for now. We don't anticipate beating the Cappuccino time purely because we're going to brake and just go a little bit wider and longer. That was wrong. But hey, we'll early apex because we had to slow down. I'm talking and driving and it's doing me head in. So the Cappuccino does 2:35s, we do 2:44s at the fastest point. That was a 2:44.509. I do expect to go faster, but look at that right hand front tyre. There's no way in the world that is going to make 24 laps. And it's this long corner and that one down the bottom that causes this. Second gear for this corner. We might just have to pop in for tyres, maybe at the halfway point, and then fill for the amount of laps we need to finish the race. That might be the way, just one stop it, roughly halfway, maybe lap 11, maybe lap 12. That might be the way to do this. We know we're not going to beat any records, but we are going to be distinctly ahead of these guys. They will be doing 8-lap stints, I think. The Cappuccino was an 8-lapper. So with the cappuccino we do an 8, a 9 and an 8. And it would make a difference whether you did a 9, an 8 and an 8. It was always going to be difficult to do those 9 laps on the out laps on the first stint, purely because the fuel weight you were carrying made it so hard to actually complete the race, complete that stint. Those last couple of laps would become very dodgy. So with a lower fuel limit of the second stop, we would normally do that stint second. But what it did was it changed the running of the race. It was very different when you pitted early and you did that stint early, because it changed the time you approach cars, and it took me a number of times to actually work out which was the right strategy. But it all depends where you met the cars and how you met them. And with that, I can tell you about the other things I've been doing this weekend, as well as going to watch the movie. Last night I was beset with some technical problems, so a suggestion was to have some more cameras so that I could show you my feet and the hands and wheel, to show you how I'm reacting to situations. If you saw what my hands and feet were doing, whether I was pressing the brake, where I hold my feet whilst I'm driving, etc. So I tried to set those cameras up last night, and lo and behold, none of the cameras worked. Not even the one that I was trying to always use, this one that you see me on now. Plug in the extra cameras in, naffed it up. So I spent 4 hours trying to get those cameras back working last night, and then found I couldn't win any of the races I was attempting to do. So I did test out this car last night. I only ran 4 laps and thought, oh yeah, this car will do it. So that's what we're on with today. I ran number 1 race, Suzuka, in the Mazda touring car, the Miata touring car, the Unos Roadster touring car, the MX-5, and ran that twice, winning it both times but coming nowhere near the record. So I've scrapped my setup for that, which is safe, and it allows you to win, because I won both races, and I won one of the races by lapping everybody at least once. Everybody in the race got lapped, but I missed the top laps. Can't really show that video, can I, when I'm not even on the world top 10 stars for that? If they are world top 10 stars, just caveat that, it might be regional, but I'm still number 1. However, those videos will be coming to you this week when I've got them worked out. I might even post them for members, so members can get to view winning failures, if there can be such a thing as a winning failure. So the last lap was a 2-minute 45.590, which was just outside the fastest lap. I don't know where we are with the fastest lap on this one. I've not been monitoring it, I've been gassing. Trying to take my mind off that right front tyre that is looking very dodgy. Right rear is looking a bit scrappy as well. So let's take the balance to the rear anyway, just to take the weight off the fronts. 15 laps to go. So that will take us to roughly 20 laps complete. So if we pit halfway for tyres, we've got the opportunity to just, I would suggest, probably only take 12 laps of fuel, because I think we might get to 23 laps, maybe 22, might get to 22. Looking at this though, we're almost 15 minutes gone and we're on lap 5. I think we're actually going to get to 22, I think, yes. But let's not be disappointed, 22 laps is a winning score. It certainly is, and it's a great little race. Do love it. What you're going to get is just, we'll get no variation in weather, but it will start to get over cloudy, muggy, and it's very hot here. And it will give me that sense of feeling, because we're in Japan, I believe, one of the central tracks in Japan, in amongst the mountains, and it does get quite tropical, quite warm, quite humid, and that's what I'm feeling today. And with only one pit stop, that makes refreshments quite tricky, because we've got the old radiator fluid again, Not allowed to drink the brown cola anymore. Self-inflicted wounds we've got to manage, haven't we? We can't drink the fizzy pop. We're on the pink stuff that doesn't mix very well with ice, because the ice melts and put a layer in. So for the first half a pint, all you get is melty ice water with a tiny bit of flavouring of coolant. We're now 14 seconds ahead of Mr. Solis. Probably only a couple of laps until he wants to pit now. And by only stopping once, we're going to save around 40 seconds, because each pit stop is worth, for tyres and fuel etc, is worth around 22 seconds if I remember correctly. And when the in the cappuccino we had to stop twice for 3 stints, so we're going to save 20 odd seconds, aren't we, that one stop. We're going to take a dash of fuel, even though the cappuccino never needed any. I think we might have had to take a dash of fuel in the last sector, can't remember. So there's a 2:44.480. that is fastest lap of the race so far. Going to try and get 2 of these races done for you tonight. As I say, we need to find another car that we want to do deep forest in. I don't think we'll use this one. I don't think we'll actually make this be a double feature. Mr. Siswillow went to the pits there, first one to go in on end of lap 6. The field is now starting to spread out a little bit. Now, if you know about what I just did there has been a long-standing little help-aid within GT, and I don't try to do it, but you can actually hook your tyre on the inside of the curb. It used to be much more prevalent. At this circuit especially, you could hook a tyre, that left-hand tyre, around the inside of that curb, and you used to be able to sling yourself around it, a slingshot type thing, where you could just bury it and it'd throw the car around it. They've sorted that out with a couple of updates, but there is still somewhat of an effect to it. You could do it here, you could also do it around this corner, and it wouldn't give you massive amount of tyre wear either. So you could hook your tyre on the inside of that curb and just flat out go around it, and it'd slingshot your car around the corner. You can't do it so much now. You can get a little bit of effect for it, but it's a bit risky. You can see the competitors there, as I say, getting really quite strung out. We apexed that one a bit early, which means we almost missed the apex on the way out, but no issue. Used to be able to do it there as well, and this next corner you used to be able to do it, but they've sorted it out. They've made it so it doesn't have such an effect. But it seems to be a good little move of this car. It's quite quick, it's quite light, it's only 1,500 kilos, which is £3,000 for you that use the other money. That right front is looking ropey, but I think we're only going to do 4 more laps after this one. And then we're going to pit in and take the remaining fuel. If we do 2 more laps, it takes us to 11, well, it takes us to 9 laps. That's nowhere near where we want to be. I think we're going to have to do maybe 4 more laps. Now you're asking why I'm extending the fuel. Oh, we cheated there. A little bit of a shortcut. Might get a penalty. No, it doesn't look like it. You watch it. Bing! No. Did that... Was that Mr. Solis went to the pits then on his usual 8 laps? Yes. So the reason we've slowed the car down by just using fuel map 6 is because it's just a more luxurious drive. It's more it's more timed, it's more... I think the car goes fast enough for me. If I wanted it to go faster and be a riskier drive, I would. But as I say, I've got nothing to prove. All we're trying to do is win the race. We're not out to set a record, because this car won't set one. All we're trying to do is demonstrate that this car, as a new addition to the game, has got a use. And I think it's a nice, tidy car. It's just its fuel economy and its highest gear isn't the best. And we've had to take so much power out of it anyway, that we're just going to use it to... it's got a 7th gear, nice. We could actually shorten the gear ratios if we wanted to, but again, higher ratios help with the length of fuel as you get changed up in the gears. Short shifting through them will conserve more fuel. This will be 8 laps done. This will be a third of the way through. We could go and take another set of tyres now if we wanted to, but I think that'd be a bit of a waste of time. I know we'll get newer tyres, but we'll be stationary twice. And as you all know, with this game, the entry to the pits is always the longest. It's always the longest. But is the time going to fall away now? No, we're in the 2:44s still, so we're putting in almost lap record times. Tyres aren't wearing that bad. We're going to pit approximately at the 30-minute point, maybe a fraction after. We'll pit the once. We're 30 seconds in the lead now. We're purple sectoring still. Car feels very light going over this crest. It's amazing how the game actually replicates that feel. It does affect my stomach as we go over the top of that. Lots of activity at the top of the track, you can see there. Still purple. We had a bit of a wobble as we came off that last curb. I just ran it into the grass and the front tyre fell off the actual inside curb. Try to straighten the wheel to keep us going as fast as we can without rubbing tyre. See if we can get that apex again without missing it. Looking for the next timing zone, see how we are. See if we're purple again, and it'll be just after this sector here. Here's the timing barrier. We're not, we're 3/4 of a second down. Holy chipotle, we lost a load, didn't we? So I must have got that last corner really, really well. So as we come round onto lap 10, front right is about half burnt, rear right is about half burnt, everything else is a quarter or a third. We're a second down there. 34.5 minutes, 34.5 minutes to go, so maybe 2 more laps as we decided to almost throw it off the circuit there as the car ran wide. We'll do 2 more laps. We'll take it to lap 12. The start of lap 12, which won't mean that we'll do 24, it means we'll do 23 laps. I was just thinking then, we don't actually get anything for being a top 10 star, do we? At some point in my days on GT7, I've been top 10 star, I think, on all but 2 of these human comedies. "36 seconds in the lead. And these guys are just running laps on their own. Well, in a bunch. They're having a bit of a race, I think. Not seeing much overtaking going. We are just blasting away out front. No activity at all. We're between the pack and the rest of them. I don't think by pit stopping we'll drop back into their folds. Just almost a second down. "38 seconds. So coming round to complete lap 10, we'll be pitting after the end of lap 10, I think. And there's me being, sorry, it's lap 11 we'll be completing. There's me thinking we might just be falling over the door on lap 23, but it actually looks like we're going to finish halfway around lap 22. Well, it'll still be a winning race. We're just going to pit the once. It's the end of this lap. That right front is slowly cooking. Mr. Valverde goes to the pits on roughly halfway. 24% fuel left. We've got 50% of fuel left. So it kind of tells me we don't need to take much fuel. I'm only going to take to 55%, I think. I think we'll be lighter with fresher tyres, so we'll burn more fuel. So if I take 56% to be sure. Do you like what I did there? A little Irish impression. No offence meant. We're going to have a crack at getting that lap time down. What this does go to prove is just how quick that cappuccino is to set the record here. If you're thinking 10 seconds a lap faster on average, nothing slower than a 2:35. Absolutely. It's nut busting, it really is. And it's one hell of a thing to do. We're 41 seconds in the lead just as we're about to go to the pit. and we should be, oh, I bet we won't see it. There's a car on the straight just down there. We're going to the pits. 29.36 remaining. We're going to take the hard tyres and we're going to fill up to 56% as I neck some of this cold amber liquid. Cold clear coolant. There's the hard tyres. There's the 56%. We're away. No dramas. 11.3 laps. Well, we did 11 at the out lap, didn't we? As long as we get across the line, and if we run out of fuel, we run out of fuel. That's just going to be the way it is. We'll just have to do some conserving. Well, Tapia and Fraga's coming as well at the halfway point. They're on their one stop for hards. As we run really wide with a late break, but we get back on the gas and come out hot. So all a bit of a change at the front there, look. Mr. Deriucci goes up into third place. Mr. Gallo in fourth. Mr. Solis, who was leading on the softs, is now in fifth. I'm expecting to come across a number of cars at the back here, whether that's going to be, oh, I can't remember, it's been so long. Who are we going to see? I think we're going to come across oh, Spanish fella, can't remember. We'll find out very shortly. He's not that far ahead, so we'll come out of this corner and see who it is. He's just got to the top of the hill going into that first chicane, and there's two of them. We would normally lap those guys 3 times. But we're doing okay. It's like 2.5% a lap, isn't it? So I've allowed for an extra lap, which if we do put the wheels across the line, that would be enough to get us round for lap 23, I would suggest. Don't know if that's going to be possible. So back to the movie. I don't want to give any spoilers, so ultimately really good film. A little bit longer than I thought it would be. It was best part of on its way to 3 hours with the adverts and trailers at the start. There was no intermission, which meant you were sat down for the full amount of time, but it was good. The sound was great. Lots of good music as well from the time. If you think about what music was on and what you could listen to, and there was the look into the old Sony Walkman, which was quite a good little look back, with actual headphones that I remember. We're fastest on the fastest lap, fastest first sector. We probably eroded speed a bit quickly there. Right front starting to squeal around there. Can't see anybody yet. He's just through the S-bends. We'll chase him down. Yeah, Enya Orinoco Flow, great tune. I was expecting to hear things like Born Slippy, but they were all taken by Train Spotting, weren't they? But some real good tunes. Ozzy Osbourne, early Black Sabbath stuff's in it as well, which is great to hear. I'm a big Black Sabbath fan. All aboard! If you remember the song, Crazy Train. But it is a real good mishmash of future and past, or present and past, should I say. So the 2020 setup, 2021, 22. There wasn't one in 2020, was there? The World Series setup, but it's the setup from those years where you see the podium, the driving's podium, and with all the rigs set up. And I'm not entirely sure that was the case back in the year that we did the actual GT Academy Challenge. But there was the other thing I was going to say. If you watch the film and you were watching the clips of Le Mans and the track at Le Mans, I believe they're using the wrong variant of the Le Mans track, because they're not. If you looked at the footage, it didn't actually show the chicane before the start finish. It showed two 180 hairpins, and that for me is wrong. But I don't know whether it's because they have changed the circuit at Le Mans, or they still use those two fast chicanes. Do they actually use now the end of the international circuit, which is the small circuit behind the grandstand? They have like an F1 track at Le Mans, but used for touring cars. They do the DTM and that when they go there. But I thought that was just a little bit weird and had me thinking. And I thought it was interesting as well that they had the qualifying races that the guy had to go to, Bahrain, Hungary, Turkey. We don't have any of those tracks in the game, and I wondered if there was hints there at tracks we could get in the game, because they showed you doing 3D scanning of cars as well, and a 3D scanning of tracks. So it just kind of made me think, is there any little Easter eggs in there from the movie of things we could get or may get? Maybe I'm asking too much. Maybe I'm doing a little bit too much in the sort of planting seeds or creating rumours. That's not what I'm trying to do. It's just airing what I thought I saw and understood. But you know, it'd be great if some of that did happen. Massive investment into that film, I think. I don't think it was a small budget, even though, I mean, everybody's favourite Spice Girl, if you're my age, was in it as well. You know, and of all the Spice Girls, who would you have chosen? Would it have been Jerry Halliwell? Well, she likes a bit of Red Bull now, doesn't she? But at the end of the day, we all thought we would. But I didn't expect Jerry Halliwell to be in the movie, because I didn't really watch much of the setup, but I didn't even recognise the lead actor. To be honest, I didn't put it together. I didn't read the names until I was sat outside the cinema and watching the big screen and thinking, Orlando Bloom, oh, I didn't realise he was in it. I was just more interested in the fact it was the GT movie. So we're back up to 41 seconds. There's a car behind us and a car in front, and I'm guessing we haven't overtook anybody. I'm guessing somebody's pit stopped and come out behind us. So that sort of ruined it for us as we were gassing and chatting, wasn't it? We haven't actually overtook, or have I overtook somebody and not actually realised it? I don't remember. Oh my, that's terrible. That's amazing how time slips away. We haven't put in a faster lap yet. We've been in the 244s though. Here we go, coming up behind the BMW of Mr. Shepherd from the USA. Brake on the first chevron, that first white line on the edge of the track. Get him around the outside. There we go, we are so much quicker than him that is so possible. Mr. Yamanaka goes to the pits. And that little sector there gave us more impetus and we got purple. Just 20 minutes to go. So 47 seconds in the lead. Got a little bit of ways to go before we're lapping some more people, but hopefully we can lap a few more before we finish the race. It's made this win quite a tame thing, this car. It really has made it achievable. 7.7 laps left in the tank. I think we might have timed that just a little bit off. I think we're going to have plenty of fuel. As we come round, I don't know whether we're going to be purple or red here. I think it's going to be red. I don't think we'll beat that 244 480 right now. We did. There's the fastest lap of the race. There's me being negative and not so positive, and we actually go and do it. I thought we were red at the start of the lap. I saw us come underneath that gantry and go purple at the halfway point-ish. Or I'm going to say the furthest point away from the start-finish line. We can scrabble over there. Purple by 0.3 of a second. Well, that's not bad, is it? Going to break on the end of this curb. Not being lazy, I'm just casually cruising, I guess. But it is a good car, this. It'll win you a few trophies, I think. Against the AI, I wouldn't actually push it for the full thing. Don't know where it'll position in the online stakes of GR3, GR4, it's just generally a road car. 0.8 of a second up. And it's still moving. We've got a couple of cars there now within our sights to get caught up to. 7 laps to go. I think we've got plenty of juice. .56 seconds in the lead. Got the firm solidly down on that brake. Got the foot solidly down on that brake, sorry. The wrong words completely coming out of my mouth. But we're not going to do here what we did at the Tokyo 600 and run a car every day for 20 days. That's not where we are. We're just doing representative tests of new cars that came to the channel accordingly. One minute ahead. Coming round to complete lap 16. Almost 15 minutes remaining. A 2:43.594. That's pretty efficient. That right front is starting to show that it's taking the heat. We tried to steal a couple of inches there and we got penalised for it by total instability. We'll be down on time there, yeah, just a fraction. See if we can make that up though. That right front's going to be screaming at us. So the other thing the Gran Turismo movie does is it tries to explore the realms of how a internet-based racing driver can actually be better than a World Series driver, a normal driver, a reality driver, because we as AI drivers or people who race online actually have more ability to spot lines and test lines, because we can be fearless without risk of crashing, etc. So again, no spoilers, but ultimately it just opens your eyes up a bit to what the thought process is behind how somebody who's never driven a race car before can actually take $4 million of a machine and go and slam it around the track. You know, some of these cars are worth multiple millions. These race cars that are developed for Le Mans, etc., they are absolutely phenomenal amounts of money, and you put that in the hands of an 18-year-old lad who's never actually driven one before other than a stolen car in the back of Cardiff. It wasn't stolen, but it was borrowed from his dad without permission, so to speak. But yeah, a bit thought-provoking as well, the film, so well worth going to watch, folks, if you've never watched it. And if you're of my age where you've actually done it and tried to take part in it, it fills a couple of gaps. Some of the graphics as well, computer stuff, is from the time of GT Academy back in GT5, when it was when you had explosive views of the car and you actually scrolled through the brake types rather than it just being an image on the screen. If you think back to the graphics we had back then, they were certainly a bit more developed than what we had now, or what we have now, should I say. 1 minute 13 ahead, lap 18, 12 minute 15 seconds remaining. We are clicking on. That was second lap, was a 2:43.9, so the car is faster on the lower fuel rate. We got slower again in this corner before we should have come out of it. We braked rather quickly. The car is much lighter, so it will brake quicker. Probably brake a little bit later into most corners now. Although we are trying to preserve those right side tyres a bit, they're looking a bit spent. Just a third of a second down, we can make that up. We have every capability of doing that. Try a different line, and this is what I mean by the online racer having the ability to try things out. You couldn't do that in a race car because you'd lose it on the marbles and you wouldn't be able to maintain that pace. We have the ability to test this stuff without causing ourselves any harm, and I know the racing drivers of today have the access of multi-million-pound simulators, and they have $30,000 rigs, $30,000 rigs in their homes that are all motion, etc. They have more capabilities than we do, but it's just that little bit of realism that we lack before we can get onto that same platform as those guys. We lost time. So, who are we coming up to now? Looks like the AMG 45. Mr. Mendoza. They're as quick as we are in a straight line, look. 10 minutes go. Absolutely 10 minutes bang on the nose. Lap 19 we're starting, so I reckon we're only going to get to 21. We'll see. We'll see where we get to. Focus RS in front. Making inroads, half a second down. That front right tyre is just cooked a bit. Maybe we shouldn't be changing down to third there. Maybe. Plenty of grey sky. I did say it would get quite tropical earlier. See the sun probably setting down there over to the west. I appreciate I didn't give you steering wheel setups as I did normally. So we're just max torque feedback 5, force feedback sensitivity 6. A little bit late in the day, but I'm sure you'll run your own setup. I say at the start of every one except for this one, and hey ho. My glasses are steaming up, it's so warm. 3.8 laps to go. And with that, 7.5 minutes remaining as we're about to start lap 20. It's a really, really solid, stable car. I'm probably going to turn up the boost a little bit. Use the fuel as much as we can, but not run out, one would suggest. I think we've only got 2 and a bit laps to do, so we can afford to burn a bit more. Is this naughty boy Netto in the Mitzi? It certainly is. And we're faster purple sector. We didn't pull in front of him to slow him down deliberately, we pulled in front of him to take the line. So if you wanted to run this race on fuel map 1 and pit twice, I think you've got all the chances of being successful again, possibly getting yourself as far up the friends list as you want to be, because that's one of the things we like to do, is challenge the friend list. I've got over 100 people now on my friends list, and if you want to be part of that to get on the ladder, you can. Widdowmaker 10144 through the PlayStation Network app. If you use it, you could, once you're on my friends list, you have access to the Widdowmaker Racing chat channel, which we use to do live racing with. You can also see the servers we use to do online racing on Tuesday and Friday night, where we host the racing league that we do. We're just about to start the second racing league, just formulating the plans for that. And if you also want to take a moment to support the channel whichever way you see fit, whether that's by making a comment, clicking the like, you know, even the subscription really does help the channel. You can have these videos fed to you as they are released, and you can find easy access to search through, because a lot of people, I think, don't realise that subscribing is free. You don't actually have to pay for that, but if you do want to support the channel even further, there's memberships, and there's another fastest lap, folks, down at 2:42. Just think how fast this could go if you put it on the medium tyres and put fuel map on 1. I think this car could challenge for that cappuccino spot without any major tuning. That was the Golf just put behind us, and that's a Nürburgring logoed up, stickered up Golf Mark 5, isn't it? Mark 6 maybe. We're 1 minute 47 in the lead. Don't think there's much chance of us lapping everybody, but we're certainly into the point of lapping a lot of people now. That looks like, is that an EK Civic? Yellow one? Or is it not? Is it an MX-5? I don't know, can't tell. It's not an EK Civic, it's a Honda S2000 maybe. .7 laps remaining. This next lap will be 22 laps, so we'll get lap 22 under our belt. Mr. Yamanaka in the S2000 just being given the blue flags. So 22 laps will win you this race. The fastest lap at 2:42.881, which was our last lap, which is pretty decent. 1.3 laps of fuel remaining. 1 minute 56 left, so we are going to go round and just tick through this with the right amount of fuel to get us to the end. 2:44.3, so that's the first slowest lap for a little while. We are extremely light on the fuel. Let's see where we can catch up round the course now over the length of the last lap, which this is quite a long lap. There aren't many laps at 2 minute 45 plus, except for the Nürburgring, of course. With a minute to go now before the flag drops, and everybody that passes through that flag will have to cease. And at that point they all go a lap down, don't they? Because I must be catching Mr. Fraga, Mr. Deriucci by now. So Mr. Hoshino in what looks like a GR86 something, Corolla maybe. Is it a Subaru BRZ? It is a Subaru BRZ. It's a GT86, sorry. It's Mr. Carrazza again. We just changed down to first gear there, just to upset the back end. 0.4 on the fuel. Just going to drop it to 0.5 because it's running out a bit quick. So Mr. Kukabun has now finished. Mr. Solis, Mr. Hazal, Mr. Gallo, Mr. Tapper, everybody that's coming up is finished. So they're all going to go a lap down because they only made it to lap 21. All of these boys we're going to put down a lap. And Mr. Dupuis we'd never seen at all in the race today. See if we can run it out of juice on the line. We're not going to get Mr. Dupuis, but we're through, we're done, we win in first place. That is a really, really good car. You can't fault it. That is stable, and if you wanted to try and go faster, I reckon you could probably take, with mediums, probably another 3 or 4 seconds off the lap time, which you'll have to stop twice because you'll only do 10 laps on the fuel. So at the end of the day, you'll probably be putting 2 sets of mediums on. You'll come somewhere near that 24 laps. I'm pretty sure of it. I could actually try it and give it a go, but there we have. There's the finish. Mr. Cookabun coming second, and we had the fastest lap of the race, 2:42.881, and only Mr. Secchi in the EK Civic was lapped twice. Everybody else lapped the once. There you have it. Great looking car. A great addition to the game. Update 1.36, whilst quite criticised for its content, just clashing with the time of the World Series, and disappointingly the rumours didn't come true about the extra track. But let's see what the future holds. Gran Turismo's got a long way to go, and it's got a big bright future. And with the movie, folks, do get to go and see the movie. It is well worth it. But with that, let's just see where we are on the ranking tables. We don't make any improvement because we'd have been in here somewhere if that would have taken to the tables, somewhere in the 22s. But you can see we'd have been above 15th place. I would have thought somewhere in here. Equally competitive and capable car. World top 10 stars, just to rub it is, there I am at the top. And without much further ado, thank you very much for joining us today, folks. We'll see you on the next one. All the best. Take care. Farewell. Zero credits, but 183 miles done for the day. Some of them were in the early hours of this morning.